There is an interesting narrative popping up in regards to the attacks on the people of the Druze faith in the by the Syrian militias and the subsequent retaliatory bombings by Israel. A whole bunch of people in the Israel First camp are insisting that the Druze are Arabic Christians. The Druze would not characterize themselves as Christians, and no one who spent more than 90 seconds researching the Druze could possibly come to that conclusion. So, why are Mark Levin and other hyper pro Israel types insisting otherwise? How can people who are pretty much experts on Israel not know the nature of the Druze people? The Druze are heavily intertwined with modern Israeli history due to their proximity to Israel on the southern Lebanese border. Additionally, there's a sizable population of Druze who live in Israel. They have an outsized presence in the Israeli army. There are also large numbers of Druze living on the strategic Golan Heights. Curious stuff, huh? So, who are the Druze? Well, they have their roots in Shia Islam, but they have opted for a belief system that's quite far from that source. Their sect was considered apostates, and to many in Islam, they still are. And so they've gone through numerous waves of persecution uh, through the centuries. They appeared roughly around 1060. So if they're not Christians, what are they? Well, they're very much their own thing. First, they're monotheists. They believe only in one God. However, they are very Unitarian in nature. They would wholly reject the idea of the Christian Trinity, and they reject the concept of Allah having attributes or alternate names. One figure I saw suggested that mainstream Islam sees 99 attributes or aspects of Allah, which uh, Druze would completely reject. Uh, the Druze see Jesus as a prophet, but they do not see him as divine. They see Muhammad as a prophet, but they do not recognize him as the last and greatest prophet. They recognize the holy books of all the Abrahamic religions as having some element of the truth, but their own holy book, the Epistles of Wisdom, take precedence over all those books. They believe in reincarnation. Our understanding is that they believe people reincarnate through many cycles, and once they perfect themselves, they rejoin with the cosmic mind. So, a religion that rejects the divinity of Jesus, holds the New Testament as inferior to their own holy words, holds the idea of the Trinity impossible, and believe in reincarnation, are in no way Christians. Now, from what I understand of the history, the Druze seem like a decent people. They've had a horrible and unfortunate history of being persecuted, but they've done a great job standing up for themselves to be able to survive this long. They don't deserve, nor have they done anything to justify the attacks of these Syrian militias on them. So, what about these Israel firsters who are insisting they're Christians? I find it impossible to believe. I find it impossible to believe that they think they're telling the truth. Sorry, I had a different phraseology there. I decided to be a little more generous. Now, if it turns out that some of you guys who are out there insisting they're Christians just really didn't know, I apologize. I mean, you have to understand though, if you are big and deep into Israel, it's really hard to believe that being ignorant of who the Druze are, it's just hard to fathom. It's very far fetched to me to believe that that's true. So why characterize them in this manner? I have some ideas. Israel has recently received a lot of blowback for shelling a Catholic church in Gaza. So, this claim of pretending the Druze are Christians and then defending them may be a way of smoothing over some distraught Christian Westerners. Another possibility is that Israel might use the attacks on the Druze as justification for occupying or possibly even annexing their land. The Druze and Israel are heavily intertwined. Depending on what the situation is, the Druze kind of go back and forth over how comfortable they feel under Israeli control. But if the Syrians are turning on them, they would probably prefer Israeli occupation over Syrian rule. The Druze are concentrated in 3 locations that are all high ground. There's the Mountain of the Druze, Mount Hermon, and Mount Lebanon. These locations would eliminate air corridor blind spots and make it harder for military units to stage covertly. It would also give Israel the ability to interdict most of the southbound road movement towards Israel. If Israel did this to protect Christians, well, many more Americans would probably be willing to go along and say, well, gee, Israel, they're just doing great things protecting Christians. How can you be against that? So, short video, but I just wanted to get that out there. What do you think is up with these people claiming the Druze are Christians? Are they ignorant? Or are they deliberately not telling the truth? What's their motive? Do you think they're just trying to smooth over their current gaffe of having a tank shoot through a church in Gaza? Or do you think they have further goals in the Druze occupied areas of Lebanon and Syria? And do you know something about the Druze I missed? Did I get something wrong? Tell me all about that in the comments below. Please smash the like button. If the YouTube algorithms brought you here and you're not a regular subscriber, if you check out my titles, you'll see stuff that'll interest you. Please subscribe. And if you know someone who might find this interesting, share it with them. Thank you for spending time with me this evening. Hope to see you again in a future video.